Hello lovely people, welcome to my channel. My name is Shauna and I am a recovering addict and codependent. And today I want to talk to you about step 1. So if you want to see how I did this look and talk about step 1 with me, just keep on watching. Today I really want to talk about step 1, like I said in the intro. And step 1 is admitted that we were powerless over our addiction and that our lives had become unmanageable. So what does that mean? So we have to tell ourselves, basically the first step is us finally admitting that we have a problem, but it's more than that. It's not just, I know I have a problem, it is saying, I have a problem, I cannot stop. No matter what I do, I cannot stop. And the first step is really about being completely honest with ourselves for the first time. In addiction, we spend so much time hiding and concealing what we've been doing. And the first step is saying, no more, I'm done with that. But what that means is we have to admit to ourselves, because everyone else already knows. We have to admit to ourselves that we have a problem. And once we do that, that's when we can really start to heal, because any 12-step group and recovery principle is all about living a life of rigorous honesty. And if you attend 12-step, that's something you'll hear over and over and over again. So what does it mean to be powerless? I remember when I first heard that, I'm like, first of all, I was refusing to admit that. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to say that I am powerless. I'm in control. I'm the one that decides. But when you really break it down and look at what any 12-step group means, what that means is, I know I have a problem, but no matter what I do, I cannot stop, and I don't care about the consequences. Okay, so then what does the second part mean? And our lives had become unmanageable. Well, that's exactly how it sounds. Our lives turn to chaos. What does chaos look like? For everyone, it's different. For me, it was constantly lying, making up stories, having to keep those stories, and then hoping not to get caught again, which didn't obviously work all the time, or I wouldn't be here sober and talking to you guys. Part of step 1 is also how you work it. Your sponsor will decide how you should work step 1. I'm going to tell you the way I worked it. For me, it was, I didn't have a sponsor, but if you're going to work it the way that I had to work it, I would highly suggest getting one, because it was really, really intense. It went really, really in depth. And I only had a close, trusted friend I felt I could talk to, and my therapist, whom I obviously didn't see frequently enough. And then I sort of had my group, but at that time I was only going to group twice a week. So, and there's always a topic at group, so I didn't want to spend that time just talking about myself, because that's not what group is for. So for me, I was actually set by my therapist on what to do, and she had me working in an addiction workbook, and what I had to do was write down 10 examples of how I had been powerless to my addiction, and 10 examples of how my life had become unmanageable. As you can imagine, that is pretty rough to think about, especially new in addiction. Like, you're being honest with yourself. I keep shoving this in front of the camera, I'm sorry. You're really being honest with yourself to what you did, not only to your own body, but to other people in your life and how you hurt them. Because, you know, our actions have consequences. And then once I was done with how I was powerless to my addiction, I then had to go in and write 10 examples of how my life had become unmanageable. And I remember being new and thinking, I don't have any of those. Luckily, the workbook I had gave some examples, and I pretty much ticked all those boxes. And soon enough was able to come up with 10. But again, as you can imagine, very triggering. Didn't have my therapist just on call to talk to. So I had to sit with this, and I'm very thankful that I had a trusted friend that could understand what I was going through. So spoke with them about it quite a bit, and they really helped me pull through. And, you know, when you're in the midst of addiction, the reason you're an addict is you want to mask some pain. And so to finally stop doing whatever your drug of choice is painful. So to finally stop and actually have to sit with these feelings is not something I'd ever experienced at the time. Alright, as you can see, I went ahead and I cut out the crease and added some shimmer. I did that off camera because it takes way too much time, and it also, you need a very steady hand, which I cannot talk and do that at the same time. So anyway, moving on. So after I did my 10 examples of unmanageability and powerlessness, I then had to do my 10 worst moments. And what that meant was, what did I feel was the 10 worst things I ever did in the midst of my addiction. And then I had to, keep doing that to you guys. And then I had to rank them from 1 to 10. So again, very triggering. Highly suggest having a sponsor if you're going to do this step the way that I had to do it. Again, I didn't have a sponsor at the time. I don't even know if I was in 12-step yet at the time when my therapist told me. No, I was, because I also had to write down like my denial and delusion inventory, and what that meant was, what was I telling myself to make myself feel better about what I was doing versus, and not versus, but along with, why did I think it was okay? So, as an example, I mean, everyone does it, so I'm not hurting anyone, or that other person isn't involved, so I'm only hurting myself. Which is obviously not the right thing to do, because addiction doesn't just hurt you, it hurts the people around you as well. And I also had to take an inventory of the true cost of my addiction, and that was the one that really hurt me the most, because I did that one 2 months after being fired. I had hit bottom. My rock bottom was being fired from my job because I wasn't paying attention, because I was too busy fixated on getting my fix. So things at work got missed, and I mean, I completely deserved to be fired. I wasn't doing a main thing they asked me to do, so I get it. But just in lost wages alone, I had accumulated, I calculated about $4,000. But you know, there were other costs as well, you know, like how much were you spending on the addiction? And it wasn't just financial cost, you know, how much time was I spending away from my kid? How much time was I spending away from my family? You know, I wasn't present. I was not a present parent at the time. When I did that inventory, that was the one where I was really like, wow, Shauna, you really were in deeper than you thought you were. And it kind of made it where I couldn't have those denial patterns anymore of being like, no, you know, it's just hurting me. It's not hurting anyone else. I mean, it was in writing, you know, what I had done, how I had lost money for my kid, how I had, you know, been super selfish and, you know, claiming that I can't afford anything. Well, I could have. I just chose to put that money elsewhere. That was eye-opening, and I think that more than what I had done in the past hurt me more because I saw what I had done to my kid. I know I keep saying that, but that's true. My son is actually, I have 2 bottoms. One, getting fired, and 2, my son was very young, like just learning to walk young. And he had fallen down and he got hurt, and he went to my mother instead of me because I wasn't the safe, present parent I should have been. And that was really when I decided, you know what, enough's enough. I gotta be here for him. I'm his mom. Dropped my makeup wipe. I'm going to step off camera real fast. I'm going to put on my eyeliner. It is the Benefit Roller Liner. It's new, it just came out. Alright guys, so the eyeliner is on now. Looks pretty good. I'm happy with it. So, moving on, let's do our waterline. Going to use the Urban Decay 24/7 liner. So next I want to talk about why this stuff is so important. I know we kind of alluded to it in the beginning, but basically this is the one where you say, I cannot keep doing this anymore. I'm done. And what I'm doing isn't working. I keep getting caught, or I almost died. You know, whatever your addiction, whatever one of those makes the most sense to you. Addiction is rooted in fear. And what that means is when we are scared, we catastrophize things and we think that there is no other way. Or we make a mountain out of a molehill. And what we need to be doing instead is living in the moment and living in complete honesty. So what does it mean to live in complete honesty? It means not lying anymore, and not only to our spouses, loved ones. Wow, the lighting is so annoying tonight. But also to ourselves. You know, we can no longer say, oh, I can do this on my own, I can stop anytime I want. So we don't say that anymore, and we admit defeat. Now that, when I first heard that, that was really scary for me. I'm like, what do you mean admit defeat? Like, I'm stronger than anything, nothing will ever beat me, this thing doesn't have me. But we really are defeated, and it's okay to admit that, because, and we'll talk about it next month when we go to step 2, we will have our higher power. If you guys have already worked step 1, let me know. I keep looking in my mirror, by the way, it's easier to look at. If you guys have already worked step 1, let me know how you did it, how your sponsor wanted you to do it, what kind of issues did you have coming up. I have multiple addictions, so I had to do it a couple of times, but I'm referencing my main one when I talk about the things that I had to do. So yeah, what did you guys do? You know, let me know in the comment section down below. And of course, always let me know if you have questions, whether it's about whatever products I'm using or about addiction in general. I'm doing this because I want to help not only people who are addicts, but also family members, spouses. You know, not only am I an addict, but I grew up with them, so I understand both sides. I also understand the codependency aspect because I am codependent, so I'm here for you guys. That's pretty much what I did for step 1. Oh, I forgot my blur stick. Damn it. Oh well. We'll just see my pores today, that's all. It'll be fine. Okay, next we need to set this face. I am going to use the new Fenty Beauty setting powder. I am using the shade Butter because I'm pasty. Oh, I was gonna tell you guys, it probably seems very weird. Why are you doing makeup and talking about addiction? And it is weird, you're correct. The reason is, with my main addiction, one of the things I had to do was, instead of engaging in the addictive behavior, I had to figure out, per my therapist's request, 30 things that I could do instead of engaging in addictive behavior. And one of my 30 things is, you know, arts, like painting, drawing, sewing, making jewelry, that kind of stuff. Well, any of you watching me who have children, you'll understand that trying to do any of that with a 3-year-old is next to impossible because they want to do it all. And then as soon as you get their stuff done, they say, or stuff set up and ready to go, they say, I'm all done. So this was a way, doing makeup is a way for me to still be artistic, which I love. It's a good, healthy behavior. And my 3-year-old doesn't want to play in it. Let's carve out this face so it looks like I have a cheekbone and a jawline. Lord knows I wasn't blessed with one post-baby. So what other things do you guys want me to talk about? I mean, I'm obviously going to do a step a month. I have some other ideas like tools of recovery, dealing with triggers. What else do you guys want to see? Like, I really want to make this interactive. I want to make it helpful. I want people to feel like this can be a safe space for them while they're getting sober. I know what it was like to not, well, everyone doesn't really have that. Like, you feel like you're the only one in a way. What do you guys want to see? I really want to serve people. You know, the 12th step says it's all about giving back to the community and helping other fellow addicts. So whatever you guys need, I want you to let me know. You guys, I'm going to work on being more mindful about where I'm placing things, because this is not helpful to anyone. Ooh, there she is. We love an Amrezy highlight. And all that talking, I forgot to do my brows. Let's pop those on real fast, shall we? I really like the Brow Contour Pro by Benefit Cosmetics. It reminds me of the old clicky pens, because it has all the shades you need. It's so fun. So the component has a definer, a deeper shade, a lighter shade, and a highlight shade. If you don't know, this is the trick to get the perfect brow, supposedly. You put it up to your nose here, and where that points, that's your connecting mark, or your first mark. This is where your arch should be, so like this. And then down here is where it should tail off. And then you just connect the dots. Also, guys, in the comments below, let me know if there's anything you want me to try out in regards to makeup. I don't know who's here for makeup. Obviously, this is my first video, so like nobody's here for anything. So, who's here for makeup? Who's here for addiction or both? Let me know and we can get some new products. I'm always willing to buy makeup. If you could see my vanity, I have a problem and it's called Sephora and Ulta. Okay, brows done. They're good enough. When you guys see me reach over, here's a hack. If you don't have a lot of brushes, you can take a bun donut, put it in a container. I'd use the pigment from the Amrezy highlighter on this brush, and without having to clean it, I'm taking the powder off of it by rubbing it against the donut holder or bun holder thing. They sell what's called a color switch at Sephora and Ulta for like $8. Why? I have Tupperware at home and a bun holder is like $2. So that's what I did. You can also use a microfiber cloth. You can get one at the dollar store and put it in a container. I'm not paying them $8. I spent enough money there to not spend money on that. Now, mascara. Let's do the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. Now, the final step is lipstick. Good. Jeffree Stars. Can't relate. Okay, guys, so this is the final look. What do we think? I think it's very glam. I think it looks good. I'm really happy with it. I love the highlight especially. Step 1 is all about being honest with yourself for the first time and honest with those around you. It sets the foundation for all the other steps. If you are not willing to be rigorously honest starting at day 1, step 1, step 4 especially is not going to go well for you, and neither is step 9. So when you're ready to take this step, do it with the full intention of being honest and you will be just fine. Remember, one day at a time. Find your support group, find your crew, whatever you want to call it. Have good people in your life and you will be just fine, and we will get through this every day together. Again, my name is Shauna, and if you could go ahead and click subscribe down below and give the video a thumbs up, I'd really appreciate that. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it is at Recovered Feminist, and the same on Twitter, but I think it's missing an E, but I'll post it down below, and I will see you again next time. I love you all so much, and I hope you have a great day. And again, one day at a time, get through this and just keep breathing. Bye, guys.